Welcome students to the third and last lecture within the lecture series about environmental regulations, which will be focused on the private level and especially on sustainable logistics strategy. The third lecture will end in a description of the reflection assignment and a summary of learning outcomes from all three lectures within the lecture series. As previously mentioned, organizations such as KRAV, the SWAN and MSC accredit standards that can be used by companies on a private level. But companies can also regulate their own business by construction of a sustainable logistics strategy, which include reduction of freight transport intensity, decisions regarding shifting of freight to greener transport modes, regarding improvement of vehicle utilization, decisions regarding increase of energy efficiency, and finally, decision to shift to less polluting energy sources. Each of these aspects of the sustainable logistics strategy will be presented in the upcoming slides, starting with the reduction of freight transport intensity, which is about downsizing the level of material consumption to a more sustainable level, but also due to reduction of the number of ton kilometers based on the restructuring of the supply chain and the distribution systems. Decisions regarding shifting of freight to greener transport modes includes taxation, such as of fuel consumed by different transport modes, consideration of financial incentives and the abilities to receive governmental support linked to the use of different more environmental friendly transport solutions, alternatives, but also regulations such as liberalization of rail and infrastructure measures, i.e. the creation of an infrastructural plan. If you look into the improvement of vehicle utilization, again we have taxation as a measurement, such as fees for heavy vehicles, but also the creation of financial incentives, such as commercial benefits linked to improved loading. If we look into decisions regarding increase of energy efficiency, it includes decisions linked to driver training schedules such as eco-driving, but also imposing fuel economy standards for new vehicles and incentives linked to scrappage and exchange of older vehicles. And finally, decisions linked to the shift to less polluting energy sources includes the reduction of sulfur in fuel and the environmental impact of sulfur, such as the greening of shipping. Now I will present the reflection assignment based on the 3 video lectures. Reflect on advantages, disadvantages and challenges linked to the adoption of international and national environmental regulations in different countries. Report this as a short reflection, approximately between 100 and 200 words. Notice that bullet points can be used, and bring the report to the lecture on May 2nd. Students writing the reflection will receive 1 extra point on quiz number 3. During the 3 lectures with the lecture series about environmental regulations, approaches linked to enforcement of regulations have been presented, but also different levels of regulatory bodies making and constructing environmental regulations and standards. One of these levels was the international first level, which was more thoroughly described based on objectives. The slides also address regulative restrictions at different levels in the European Union, and mention that HGV standards are actually used for different types of diesel, which I really emphasize that you know about. In the later part of the lecture series, the second international level based on objectives and policy measures was described. And in the end, the private level, including the 5 aspects of the sustainable logistics strategy as a regulative document, was described.